So I knew it was time to make a new video because Tolstoy and I, my boy Liev and me, got kicked out of the living room. So, how have you been? No, I'm kidding. Thank you for coming here. Welcome to the Linguist Library. Here we talk about books and languages and words and all that kind of thing. If you like that, please like and subscribe. Would love to have you here. Now, we are talking about how I annotate my physical books today. If you hear something, that's just my dog. Occasionally, she likes to give her opinion. And she feels very strongly about annotations, as you can imagine. All of us book lovers have an opinion about this. So I hope I don't offend anybody today, but let's get to it. I am currently reading War and Peace. Okay, because I'm an adult. I'm an adult reader. I feel very adult reading this, guys. I can't believe I'm reading this. It's an accomplishment. I think I may talk about this for a while, so get ready. I'm sorry. This is looking like it's going to be a very Russian year for me. I already got Anna Karenina on my TBR list. It's coming up next, right after War and Peace. And in January, I read Dostoevsky. So, feeling very, very good about my reading. So, let's talk about how I annotate. Usually, it has a lot to do with why I'm reading that book. So, for example, I'm going to get to War and Peace later because it is the biggest one on this list and it deserves the most time. Let's start with the book that I just finished reading, and I talk about it on a channel. I talked about it on the channel if you want to check it out. It's a great short little video about this fabulous, famous book, Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. And this is a literary fiction book. So usually when I'm reading these books, I look for beautiful quotes. I look for something that impresses me. In this case, you can see here what the color coordination is for. Usually I match the color of the cover with the tabs. So this book, I tabbed books, quotes, and music. Okay? So let's move on to another book that I'm currently reading. Have not finished because I keep going back and forth. Middlemarch by the fabulous George Eliot. So you see some tabs on this one. Love doing this. The tabs for this one are, as we have here, green for historical persons and events. Usually I have green for real events or real people. Poetry for purple and all shades of purple. And then blue for books. So this is another sort of literary fiction, sort of historical fiction, and she has a lot of books that she likes to mention. So I always take note of those basically in every read. This is a middle grade series that I absolutely adored. Serafina and the Splintered Heart is the third book on the series. And this has a lot to do with Cherokee and Cherokee culture, as well as the Vanderbilt state, which is one of the most fabulous, if not the biggest, probably the biggest state in America, one of the oldest as well. So this has some beautiful descriptions of the house and the garden. So you can see that, once again, the colors are going to be matching the book. And I have green for the description of the gardens and orange for the descriptions of the house that I liked, usually because, not usually, in this case, because they were done by real architects that I admire and the best landscapist in America right now. I won't remember the name, but yeah. And the yellow is for words or sentences in Cherokee that he used. So yeah. The other book that I tabbed recently was The Healer of the Water Monster, and I actually picked these two up together because they're very similar in my mind. They both have to do with mythology and folklore, and they both have a lot of indigenous native languages that I've just sort of been looking at lately. As the name of this channel suggests, I am a linguist and I enjoy languages a lot. So you can see the color coordination for this one. We got pink for favorite quotes, yellow for Navajo, blue for his science project, which is adorable, by the way. This is a great book. I loved it. His science project is growing corn kernels, I believe. It was adorable. It's a gardening project. I loved it. And the orange one is for character development because I really enjoyed this main character, Daniel. Thoroughly recommend. I'm going to give this to my nephew. And okay, so the last book on this pile is a nonfiction book for children, middle grade. It's called Harboring Hope. It's by Susan Hood, and she's a poet. So this book is written in verse, and it's about Danish resistance in World War II. True story of how Henny Singding helped Denmark's Jews escape the Nazis. So for this one, I tabbed all of these colors that you can see here. Once again, they're going to match the book. I have red for the main character, yellow for Germany, pink for Danish culture, and purple for Danish resistance. Okay. Lastly, we have our fabulous War and Peace by my friend Leo. So Leo and I, you can see that I haven't even finished this book. I just hit a little over 400 pages. And I want to share this. I'm actually really scared of what's going to happen to Natasha because I noticed that my boy Tolstoy is very good at building them up just so he can snap them off the top again. And this has happened a couple times, and I keep seeing how he's building up Natasha, how he's just almost mythical creature. So something's going to happen. She's going to do something. Don't tell me. I haven't even watched the BBC series because I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. But for the tabbing of this book, I'm using my most normal colors, the ones I use the most when I have all colors. So I am using green for his portrayal of real people. There's a lot of real Russians, prominent Russians that feature here, not just military figures, but societal aristocracy as well. Just famous musicians sometimes. So he has a lot of real people that feature on this book, which is not a surprise because this is a historical fiction book after all. Don't you just love this color, by the way? This cover. So for the historical events and all the campaigns that happen, I have yellow because yellow is the hungriest color. Everything can and will become history eventually. So I have yellow for history and historical events, green for real people, blue for books. Most of the literary books that he's mentioned here are French. But yeah, there's a lot of blue as well. And the red are for ideologies that require a bit more reflection. So I usually will take these red tab and I will write down on my reading journal what is it that I want to reflect about. So this is one of the most important parts of annotating for me. It's keeping, if I have a physical book, an in-print book, I'm not going to highlight it because I don't like it. I might underline it and I will use a pencil for that. But I normally just write everything in my reading journal because I have a lot more space here and I normally like to elaborate on whatever it is that I am trying to reflect on. And because I read multiple books at a time and I've been reading a lot of classics lately, this is really important because I occasionally will compare somebody's writing with somebody else. The last colors that I used were shades of purple and pink, and they are for passages or descriptions that I particularly enjoyed. And I want to go back to just because how pretty they are, how beautiful they are. But thank you so much. This is how I annotate my physical books, and I hope you got something from it. I use the cheapest material available to me. So just a normal notebook, a pencil, and one of these color tabs, sticky notes. I also use these small ones like this. They're available at your local stationery store, I hope. Well, anyway, thank you so much for staying until the end. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. Check out the community tab because I'm always posting memes and polls and all sorts of things. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.